Hello friends, once again welcome to Diksha Mission JRF. This is the 15th day of Diksha Mission JRF. As of now, we have discussed different previous questions. We have discussed different sample questions. Also, we have discussed some topics directly from NTA NET Paper 1 syllabus. The last day, we have discussed from people development and environment the topic renewable energy. We have some more to discuss in renewable energy, and also we have many more topics in environment to discuss. Hopefully, we'll be discussing those topics in coming days. At the same time, we have dealt with a set of 2019 December question papers also already, especially questions from mathematical reasoning, data interpretation, higher education system, people development and environment, and logical reasoning. If you are yet to watch those videos, you can go to the previous sets of Diksha Mission JRF. All sets of 14 or all sets of Diksha Mission JRF videos released so far is available in our YouTube channel Diksha Mission JRF under the playlist Diksha Mission JRF. Okay, so in this topic we are going to discuss next topic from our NTA NET Paper 1 syllabus. Before going to the topic, let me tell you something regarding our task number 15. From today onwards, for the next 5 days, we'll be discussing set of data interpretation questions from 2018 December. Initially, we'll be starting from 2018 December. We'll be discussing from other exams also. So as a task, you will be given the data interpretation questions, and tomorrow we'll be showing you the videos of those data interpretation questions. So in simple, we'll be giving you the set of data interpretation question, 1 or 2 data interpretation question today as a task, and tomorrow we'll be discussing all those questions, or tomorrow we'll be streaming the video discussing all those questions. Okay, so while discussing tomorrow, we'll be just seeing the explanation of that question since we have already provided you questions. So as to get the question paper of, or so as to get the questions of Diksha task 15, you can download the link from YouTube description, this description of this particular video, or if you want to get the task, question paper, everything directly to your WhatsApp, you can join Diksha Paper 1 WhatsApp broadcast. So as to join free WhatsApp broadcast, you want to send join to 9847478690. The format and phone number is also given in the description. And if you would like to know more about Diksha online courses like Diksha Paper 1 online course, Diksha previous question course, in which we discuss all the more than 3,000 question papers, 3,000 questions from 2004 December to 2019 December, all question paper with explanation is available in our Diksha Paper 1 previous question course, or we also having more than 5,000 of practice question with explanation in Diksha Mega Practice course, etc. So if you would like to know more about Diksha courses, you can visit our website www.dikshaclassroom.com. So don't forget about your task number 15. We'll be discussing those tasks in the coming days. At the same time, let's move to the topic of the day. So today we are going to discuss a topic from higher education. So we are going to discuss the topic of higher education system, which is very important for your NTA NET exam. So friends, let's go to the topic. So friends, in this video, we are discussing a very important for a topic from higher education system, that is evolution of higher learning and research in post-independent India. So in higher education system, we have the first topic as Indian education system in ancient India. After ancient India, the second topic is evolution of higher learning and research in post-independent India. So in this topic, we want to study different type of evolutions or different methods, different ways, time periods through which Indian higher education system evolved to the way which is present as of now. So basically, this evolution happened through different commissions, committees, policies, frameworks, government departments, regulatory bodies, etc. So we can say after Indian independence in 1947, different commissions, committees were appointed by the government of India or various central government as well as the state government, which acted as a key behind the different type of changes that has been happening in the Indian education system. Along with this, the government has made a lot of policy frameworks. A lot of government departments were made. Many government departments were given extra tasks, and also so as to ensure the quality of the education, government has established different regulatory bodies. So this all system act as a cornerstones or the key to evolution of or development of higher education system in India. Remember, commission, committees, policies, frameworks, government departments and regulatory bodies. So in this video, we'll be discussing some of that commissions or committees and some aspect related to that. We'll be discussing more in the different or the coming videos. Okay, so first of all, let's see what are the important commissions that were appointed in the field of higher education in post-independent India, that is just after the independence. So when you consider the Indian Education Commission just after the independence, the first one, okay, the major one or the one of the most important one was Radhakrishnan Commission. Okay, yes, Radhakrishnan Commission, that was appointed in the year 1948, and this commission, Radhakrishnan Commission, was also known as the University Education Commission. Okay, Radhakrishnan Commission was also known as the University Education Commission. So this Radhakrishnan Commission was the first major commission to study the state universities in India after independence. So Radhakrishnan Commission was the first major commission to study the state of universities in India after the independence. So the basic purpose behind Radhakrishnan Commission was to study different university education system in India, its existing status, its quality, and also to recommend methods or steps so as to make the university education system more effective. That's the reason why this commission, Radhakrishnan Commission, is also known as University Education Commission. The basic aim of this commission was to report on Indian university education and also to suggest improvements that may be desirable to suit the present and future requirement of the country. So this committee studied in detail regarding the then existing system of university education system, and also it gave a lot of important recommendation to the government of India. And one of the most significant recommendation with regards to Radhakrishnan Commission was the establishment of, or it recommended the establishment of a University Grants Commission, which is known as today as UGC, based on the model of University Grants Committee in Great Britain. So at that time, so as to control the university system and so as to ensure that the universities are delivering good education, Britain has a system of University Grant Committee. So Radhakrishnan Committee studied that and recommended that based on the University Grant Committee, India should have to establish a University Grant Commission. So that was a major recommendation given by Radhakrishnan Commission to the government of India for ensuring the quality education in higher education system or university system. In this video, we'll be discussing only the major recommendation or just to introduction to the different commission, because usually in the exam they are not asking in detail about this commission, they are just asking the major recommendation or the chronological order of those commission. So first we have the Radhakrishnan Commission just after independence. The aim was to study the status of Indian education system. The major recommendation was University Grant Commission in the model of University Grants Committee in Great Britain. Okay, and this recommendation of establishment of University Grant Commission became a reality in 1956 when the UGC was established by an Act of Parliament. Remember the year 1956? That's the year in which the government of India established University Grant Commission or UGC as by the passing of an act in the parliament. So that is Radhakrishnan Commission, that's its recommendation. So we are moving to next committee or next commission after Radhakrishnan Commission. The next commission is Mudaliar Commission, which is also known as Secondary Education Commission. Remember, the first commission on the Radhakrishnan Commission dealt with university education, while the second commission or the Mudaliar Commission dealt with the Secondary Education Commission. So as the name indicates, the basic purpose of this commission or this committee was to study regarding the secondary education system available in India at the present at that time, and also it was appointed in 1952 and it was appointed under the leadership of Dr. A. Lakshmanaswamy Mudaliar, who was the then Vice Chancellor of Madras University. That's the reason this committee is also known as Mudaliar Commission. And the purpose or the basic aim of Mudaliar Commission was to study the secondary education system in India and also to suggest measures for secondary education systems reorganization and improvement with reference to the aims, organization and content of secondary education. And also it also dealt with the relationship of primary and higher education with the secondary school of different types. So in together or all together, it studied, it made detailed discussion and debates, or it made detailed study on topics, different topics related with the secondary education present that time in India. And also as the next aspect, after we have Radhakrishnan Commission dealing with university education, and then Mudaliar Commission dealing with secondary education, we have the next commission, that is a Kothari Commission, one of the most important commission related with the evolution of higher education in post-independent India. So the aim of Kothari Commission, aim of Kothari Commission was, or the main purpose was to change or study the overall system of education in India. Remember, Radhakrishnan Commission was all about studying the university education, while Mudaliar Commission was all about studying the secondary education. But at the same time, Kothari Commission was to study with the overall education system present in India. So this commission talked about or studied about the overall education system, and also it recommended a set of changes and reform in whole education system. And D.S. Kothari, the commission was appointed in the year 1964, and it was headed by Dr. D.S. Kothari, who was the chairman of the UGC at that time, University Grant Commission, which was established in 1956, that we have already discussed. And Kothari Commission have given a lot of recommendation in higher education system in India, and also the new educational policy. Education policy, India have different education policy of 1968, we have 1986, 1992, etc. All this set of new education policy was arised as a result of recommendation from Kothari Commission, and since it gives different details regarding classes, school system, education system, Kothari Commission is also termed as the Bible for teachers. Kothari Commission is also termed as the Bible for teachers. So that's Kothari Commission. Now let's see what are the important recommendation of Kothari Commission. So we'll be discussing, as a next aspect, we'll be discussing what are the different important recommendation of Kothari Commission. The important recommendation of Kothari Commissions were, first was, as you can see on the screen, free and compulsory education. For the first time in India, in a very serious manner, a free and compulsory education was recommended by Kothari Commission. Then we have, after free and compulsory education, next aim, next purpose or the next recommendation of Kothari Commission was regarding the status and education of teachers. So this commission talked in detail regarding the status, the emoluments and education of teachers. So the qualification needed for teachers, the remuneration that has to be provided to them, then the different status that has to be associated with teachers in different levels. So that is status, emoluments and education of teachers. Then we have development of languages. So this committee, Kothari Commission, also talked about development of different languages, especially regional languages was also discussed in detail by the Kothari Commission. Different region, how to incorporate different regional languages in the education or in the system of education that is prevalent in India. Everything was discussed in detail by Kothari Commission. Then it discussed about equalization of educational opportunity, which means there are different sets of people in India. They are not coming from the mainstream. Different types of equalization procedures has to be adopted so as to bring them to the mainstream. Some of the methods like reservation for deserved was a part of this one. So Kothari Commission also discussed about the equalization of educational opportunity from the side of the government. So it discussed about as a work experience and concept of national service or the national service scheme, NSS scheme, and making the education system more work oriented, or the scope for work experience, and also the scope for service mentality from the student was discussed. And the next one, it discussed about the importance of science education and research. It detailedly talked about the need for promoting research across education institution, especially promotion of research in the higher education system. And the next important aspect of this Kothari Commission recommendation was regarding the education for agriculture and industry. So it talked about the scope of spreading the educational information to the agriculture and industry so as to make it more beneficial or more effective, and also to promote or to bring the educationally aware students or people to the field of agriculture and industry. And finally, the final recommendation was regarding different system of examinations that were prevalent in the country. So it talked about education examination system, the evaluation system, and what should be the priority with regards to conducting of examination in different level of education. So these 8 are the one of the most important recommendations from the side of Kothari Commission. Okay, so that's all about the recommendations of Kothari Commission. Now let's move to the national education policy. We have already discussed that national education policy was involved or evolved in India as a part of an important recommendation from the side of Kothari Commission, because all aspect of education in India as of now is being controlled by, or as of now is being formulated by national education policy. So national education policy formulate different aspect of related with education in India. Okay, so this particular national education policies was formulated to promote education among India's people. Okay, it is evolved or it is developed with the aim to promote education among India's people, or education, a proper, uniform, structured, and standardized education across the country. This policy covers basic education to colleges in both rural and urban India. Okay, so it deals with all sort of education, whether it's a basic education, primary education, whether it's upper primary education, high school education, secondary education, university education, and all sort of education is being discussed in national education policy. And this education in both rural and urban areas were also discussed as a part of national education policy. Okay, this education in both rural and urban areas were also discussed as a part of national education policy. And as of now, we have mainly 3 national education policies. The first one was the National Policy on Education in the year 1962. Okay, so remember, as of now, we have basically 3 national education policy. National education policy in 1968, 1986, and 1992. Remember, even though as of now we have 3, there may be a chance of having a 4. In 2017, the government has appointed a committee under Kasturi Rangan so as to give recommendation regarding the establishing or adopting a new national education policy. So that recommendation was submitted by the committee, and in the year 2019, that in the last year, the government of India has released a draft national education policy of 2019, but it's as a draft so as to get consultation or so as to get opinion from different experts and publics. So the government is yet to adopt the latest one as a latest new education policy or national education policy. So remember, while you are hearing this video, if that policy is released, it may be released in the future sometime before your exam. So if that is released, you have to study that also. As of now, as of today, the officially released one these 3, and the national education policy of 2019 is being under study, is being under the consultation. So that's also very important. You have to remember that one. So we have, as of now, we have completely fully functional 3 first national policy education 1968, then that of 1986 and 1992. So we'll be discussing what are these different policies. Okay, what are these different policies, and we'll be discussing the important aspects related to these policies. Okay, we'll be discussing the important aspect related to these policies. So if we say all the national education policy or national policy of education in simple words, we can say that the policy of 1968 can be referred as a policy of radical restructuring, and the policy of 1986 can be referred as a given special emphasis on the removal of disparities and to equalize education opportunities, and the national policy of education of 1992 can be referred as with the common minimum program. So when we analyze the national policy on education, we can basically divide it into three: 1968 national policy on education, 1986 national policy on education, and 1992 national policy on education. This 1968 national policy on education dealt with the radical restructuring. 1986 dealt with the special emphasis on the removal of disparities and equalized education opportunity, and in 1992 we have the concept of common minimum program. Okay, we have the concept of common minimum program. So we'll be referring all these policies in simple words with regards to this one. Okay, next we are moving to the highlights of all the three national education policy. So we'll be discussing the highlights of all this national education policy. That is a national education policy of 1968, the national education policy of 1986, the national education policy of 1992. So firstly, let's discuss regarding the key highlights of the national education policy of 1968. The basic or the most important recommendation was a compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14. Okay, definitely that was mentioned in the constitution initially as the DPSP and later as a fundamental right. So this was the one of the key recommendation or of the 1968 national policy on education, that is compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14. That's it. And the next aspect was better training and qualification of teachers. This policy discussed regarding providing better training and qualification for teachers. Along with that one, it also discussed about the concept of three language formula, which means as till that day regional languages were not given much importance in the education system. Instead, English was still having a prevailing importance, so more attention was given on learning regional languages, and this policy bring out a new concept known as three language formula that should be applied in education, in which we will be teaching every student Hindi, English and a regional language. Okay, so if you belong to a particular state, you will be studied in the school or education system three basic languages: English, Hindi and your mother tongue. So if you belong to which state, depending upon the state, your mother tongue will be decided, you know that. And also the policy also recommended regarding the teaching of the ancient Sanskrit language, which is considered to be an important part of India's culture and heritage. So along with three language formula, policy also recommended regarding teaching Sanskrit language in India, since it was a key part of India's culture and heritage. And one of the key recommendation, or the most important recommendation regarding the expenditure or finding out expense or meeting out expenses of education, was that to increase the spending of education to 6% of the national income. So national policy on education recommended to increase the percentage of money that will be spending on education from to a point of 6% of the gross national product. That was a very important recommendation. That recommendation is still being not followed or still not being in practice. If we are spending almost 6% of our GDP in the education, that will definitely create a lot of changes. Definitely there will be many economical and political reasons behind that. It's not, we are not going to discuss those as of now. So next we are going to discuss the next national policy on education, that is a key recommendation or key highlights of the 1986 national policy on education. Okay, so we'll be discussing important recommendations related with the 1986 national policy on education. So the important recommendations was, first was to expand scholarship. We discussed about expanding the scholarship. Different sort of scholarship has to provided so as to promote education, especially to those students having economic issues or economic difficulties. Then it also discussed about promoting the adult education. So it discussed about promoting the adult education was also an important aspect. and it also discussed about employing more teachers from the SC and ST communities. So that was a specific recommendation from what we can say 1986 National Policy on Education, that is the employing more teachers from SC and ST community. So employing of more teachers from SC and ST communities were another important aspect related to the 1986 National Policy on Education. Then next highlight was providing incentive for poor families to send their children to school regularly. So providing different sort of incentives, including financial incentives to poor families so as to send their children to school regularly, was a key recommendation of the 1986 National Policy on Education. Then as the next aspect, it discussed regarding the developing of new institution that will help the improving the education standard of the country. So as the next recommendation we have, remember all the recommendation of national education policies were of factual in nature. It's not very much interesting like a data interpretation or mathematical reasoning question, but you have to study those. That's the key point. Okay, you have to study those. Then next was the primary education should be made as a child-centered approach. So the primary education was described or explained, okay, in a national policy on education as a child-centered approach. The authorities or the teachers or the decision-making bodies should give priority to child-centered approaches so that children will be motivated to study or to have education. And another aspect or another key term related with this one was the Operation Blackboard. Okay, another key term related with this one was Operation Blackboard, which was launched to expand the primary schools nationwide. So Operation Blackboard was launched to expand the primary school nationwide, and as a part of this, different set of a large thousands of schools were established across India. And also, and the last aspect, it discussed about the expansion of open university system also. Okay, so the national policy on education 1986 also discussed about the expansion of open university system, and especially expansion of the national Indira Gandhi National Open University, which was established in 1985. So it have directly discussed regarding the open university system, open education system, etc. Okay, so these were the key or important highlights of National Policy on Education 1986, like expanding the scholarship, promoting adult education, employing teachers from SC/ST, providing incentives, developing institutions, having a child-centered approach, then having the Operation Blackboard, and finally expansion of open university system. So that's it. So we are moving to the next aspect of national policy of education, or the final aspect of national policy of education, that is national policy of education of 1992. Okay, so that's the thing we'll be going to discuss regarding 1992 national policy of education. The basic aspect or the most important recommendation of national policy on education of 1992 was regarding the common entrance examination for all admission to all professional and technical programs. So that was a key recommendation of national policy on education of 1992. It discussed about different sort of entrance examination. Okay, it talked about different entrance exam scheme for admission to engineering, architecture, etc. It discussed about JEE, IEEE at the national level. Okay, different state level engineering entrance exam, etc. were recommended, and also it also discussed about how admission to different institutions should be carried out across the country. So the major recommendation of national policy on education of 1992 were mainly dealing with what we can say entrance exams. Okay, so these are the important recommendations. Remember, the basic aim behind the 1992 National Policy on Education was to reduce the burden on students with regards to entrance exam, because across the country, many number of entrance exam were present throughout the country. So the government want to reduce the number of examination by bringing up a common entrance system. Okay, common entrance mechanism or common entrance system was promoted as a part of this one. Okay, so as to promote uniformity, regarding the entrance examination throughout the country. And remember, even though we have different national policy on education like the 1968, 1986, 1992, even though I have discussed it in different concepts, different recommendation, it's everything is a evolving one. So 1968 was expanded to have a 1986 was expanded in 1992, and there will be further expansion in 2019 policy once it's adopted. Okay, it's under consideration, it's under consultation and other things also. So once again, you have to remember what are the key highlights of all the 3-1. The highlight of 1968 was compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14. Then it's all about better training and qualification of teachers and the concept of 3-language formula. Then also promotion of Sanskrit language, and very keyly and very importantly, increasing the expense of education to 6%. Then after 1968, we have key highlights of 1986 one, that is expanding the scholarship, then promoting adult education, and after that you have to employment to more teachers from SC and ST communities, then providing incentives to poor families to send their children to school regularly. Then we have developing of new institution, then the adoption of child-centered approach, then we have Operation Blackboard, and finally the establishment of better open university system or expansion of open university system. Then you have 1992 promoting or bringing upon of different set of entrance examination to a common national level examination, especially to all professional and technical programs. So we are moving to the last aspect. Then we have a Rammurthy review committee. Even though we have a educational policy for 68, 86, 92, government has appointed a committee under Acharya Rammurthy as chairman in 1990 so as to study the national policy on education of 1986. So this was another important aspect related with the evolution of higher education in post-independent India. And the committee purpose or the report, it was beared the title Towards an Enlightened and Human Society. Okay, how to promote education so as to bring an enlightened and human society was the title of the committee report or the title of the committee purpose. Then the committee, the basic aim, okay, the committee was appointed to review the national policy on education 1986 and to make recommendation regarding the revision of the policy and action necessary for implementation of revised policy within a time frame. So it was appointed in 1990 so as to revise, so as to review the national policy on education of 1986 and to make recommendation regarding the revision of the policy and to have a better better policy of education in the future. So these are the aspects related with the different national national policy on education. So that's all about the different national policies on education and Rammurthy review committee. Friends, that's all about this video discussing evolution of higher education in post-independent India. That's the topic coming under the higher education system of NTA NET Paper 1 syllabus. We'll be discussing more topics in NTA NET Paper 1 syllabus in the coming videos. So as to receive those videos, make sure you subscribe to Diksha Classroom channel. Also, to know more about Diksha Classroom, visit our website www.dikshaclassroom.com. Don't forget about your task, the question to do from data interpretation. We'll be discussing those questions in the coming days. Thank you. See you tomorrow, same time.